DBL Draft XV out here in San Francisco, California. About to get the season underway. Well, we had the combine. Now we have the draft to see your heroes strut their stuff. Um, big news out of San Francisco. The hometown, Travis traded away after winning. They brought him into here to win a championship. He won it. They traded him away the minute he wins a championship to the Caps, the new team, the Caps, who looking like they're building a fantasy team with Joseph ready in tow. Um, and the Gold have the third pick in the draft. They're always either have two picks or no picks in the draft. They always playing around with the draft. Seems to be working. They're one of the most successful teams in the league. Second team to 100 wins. And let's begin this thing. The Checkers of Carolina are on the clock with their first move as an organization. Now, this is a no-brainer. They really like Tom Middlestein, the combine winner out of Brooklyn, out of the Bronx. And there's no question that he's getting picked first. Number one pick in the draft, Tom Middlestein, Carolina Checkers. He breaks the cycle of two in a row for West Wing University. And the Jocks are on the clock now. They have their tribute player was Rainier, which is a pretty bad tribute player. Um, so they're trying to get a good pick here. Middlestein gone. The mock draft says they're going to go for Mills from Virginia Tech. So we'll see about that. Okay, so go to the calculator. 4, 6, 1/6. Little deliberation here. And they go with Tony Mills, Virginia Tech, second pick in the draft. First man on the Jocks roster. And now, the hometown team, the Gold are on the clock. It's going to be a close toss-up. They want Kareem Hakeem, looking at Randy Cooper, looking at Chris Brantley. And they go with Kareem Hakeem, the most divisive. Just nobody understands why he's so desirable. He didn't have that good of a draft, even pre-draft. Pre-combine. Everybody was going crazy about him. I mean, he has a good arc career predictor, looking like he's going to have a good career, but he's not starting off well as a 51. You're going to waste your third pick in the draft on him, but that's why they traded Travis for a chance to get Kareem Hakeem. The draft picks haven't been too good. They've only signed Pelletier ever on a draft pick. Everybody else has been let go, so they're really trying to start anew here. Kareem Hakeem, third. Now the clock shifts a little bit more eastern to Phoenix for their first ever pick. And the Caps miss out on the first. They don't get a draft pick. And now it's between Hans Greeley and Ricky Pete for the draft. Suarez, 16. And they go with the man from Vancouver, Hans Greeley. People were hoping he didn't go too low. I mean, he would be really draft steal if they passed on him. Not people not really looking at him that well. I mean, he's a great thrower, but his dodges and catches are lacking. I mean, much like Tom Middlestein's, but I mean, he has a good art grade. He has it's just his location and his chemistry aren't the best, but I'm sure he's going to be a star in this league. Hans Greeley, second best guy out of the combine, goes fourth in the draft. And now to the first non-new team besides the Gold, Dragonfish on the clock. Looking at Raj Timor or Ricky Pete. It's 3 away. 20. And they surprised. The mock draft had them going with Timor, but they go with Ricky Pete out of Yellow University. Ricky Pete. He's a 60. He's a pretty good thrower. I mean, everybody in this draft was kind of lacking in the catching and dodging department. It's kind of a throw heavy class. Now, what's going to happen with Raj Timor? He was expected to go. 65, best catcher in the class from second player ever from Atlanta, the Atlanta school, Georgia Western. And now the Gremlins have some options they weren't expecting. Ricky Pete going to be available. Now Timor or Rutledge for them. And they go with Rutledge, Timor being passed on. This could be a big draft steal. Sully Rutledge out of Texas Institute. Pretty even across the board, a nice solid player. Hopefully he gets along with everybody in Chicago because they're sure to sign him. They need a new hero. Dante gone. They need another era. Casey's aging. Dante's gone. Willis is having contract negotiations. Hopefully they can pull it together. But they pass on Raj Timor. Sully Rutledge is in Chicago. Now what will the Sea Dogs do? The Margays do. Pardon, I had it wrong on the system has it wrong on the draft page. Now it's up to the Margays. They like Timor or Prim or Madison. Let's see their initial. They go with Raj Timor. Somebody takes him. Wasn't expected to drop this far. Best catcher in the class. The Margay snag him. Now we go all the way to London. What's going on the other side of the Atlantic? Their teams lately has just been in a constant state of flux, hoping to get some normalcy back there. Get a nice standard player that wants to be there. I mean, Tamp is doing all he can, but the cast around him is just not staying together. Vito and Corey left in the offseason, and they're just not sure who's going to be there. Darren's holding out. He's not in his best years, but he's still trying to hold out for a contract. I mean, things aren't on and popping for the Seas. They're trying to get it going. A lot of speculation. Ellie Miller, the first Englishman in the league, could be going to the Sea Dogs. He's their top fit, but Madison is also there too. And they go with Madison instead of the native. That might rub people the wrong way just on a personal level. Ellie Miller, not taken. Madison, a little better rating, better thrower, better catcher, and that's really what they're looking for. That's what you want. Dodging is kind of a luxury. What you're really looking for is a catcher and a thrower. Dodging doesn't really get you anywhere, but it doesn't lose you the game. And the Sea Dogs do not go with hometown Ellie Miller. Now it's up to the third Northern team to pick in a row, the Dizzy Devils. Dizzy Devils, they could be surprising to people. They have talent. They are young. They have talent. Can they put it together is the question. They're looking at Triv Clowney out of the Sea Islands University. And Ellie Miller. Let's see. And they go with Clowney. Triv Clowney out of Sea Islands. He was only a freshman there when the great Sebastian roamed the halls. Maybe he can replicate, but we'll see. And now we go to the Pharaohs. The Pharaohs, they're an interesting case. They were kind of trying to trade this pick, but they didn't find any. They're one of the only teams with a pretty full team that looks promising. Third youngest roster currently. Um, Seventh best throwers, seventh best dodgers. Their catchers need help, but they're looking at Kyle Prim. Prim before the Diamonds and Margays traded their picks. That's why the Margays were so far up. Diamonds were a lock on Prim. Margay saw a chance. Diamonds were like, "Hey, nobody's gonna take Prim, so let's trade this pick down and get some money in the future." But Pharaohs might be looking at Prim, or Towers. Prim, they're tied. Prim or Towers is 50-50. They go with Kyle Prim. The Diamonds' plans kind of fall to the wayside there with that trade. And the Margays really benefit because they got Raj Timor on as he was dropping. That was a surprise. Prim to the Pharaohs. And now, Dragonfish second pick. One of two teams with two picks, the other one is the gold. Ellie Miller's still available. They're probably going to take him six, eight, it's either him or Brantley. And they take Ellie Miller, the Englishman, with the 11th pick in the draft. Ellie Miller, Ricky Pete. I mean, they're a young team, so I wouldn't expect them to keep both these players. They probably want some experience. I mean, there's a lot of fluctuation with these young players, and a team like the Dragonfish needs some stability right now. And now the Cats. The Cats have kind of had an odd offseason so far because they got Joseph stripped from them. Cats are a team that like to build consistency, and they kind of feel some type of way about having their player just taken like that and put on the Caps. But that's everybody knew the rules going into the offseason, and there was a strong possibility that that could happen. And now he's on another team. They're at a crossroads really because they're usually a consistent team that just builds players, but they're kind of stagnating. They peaked. They won the championship. Their players are getting kind of old now. Jared's up there. Lawsonio's kind of up there. Walter's not getting younger. Zach's old. And they need. Are they going to just quietly fade and have 4 years of bad? Or are they going to try to buck the trend and get on the Toros and Skylarks level? That's the talk there right now. And it would really be out of character for them to make drastic moves. But at the same time, you want to win. So we'll see. And it'll be a choice between Braun, Matt Braun, or Levante Towers. And they take Braun out of Wheatfield, the Midwestern man. Not the best. I mean, these picks are kind of hit or miss now. So, I mean, if he has a pretty good fit with the Cats, he might stay on, but you never know with these later picks. And now, one of the most hated teams in the league, the Gold, get their second pick. And their second pick is just waiting to get picked. It's either going to be Cooper or Brantley. Both these, I mean, Coach Pierce has an interesting coaching style, and both of these guys were raised in systems with similar styles. They're not the best guys, which is driving a lot of people crazy, but Pierce makes things happen. He's been making things happen with the Gold for 7 seasons now, and it's been very successful. So we'll see. It's either going to be Randy Cooper or Chris Brantley. He goes with Cooper. Speedy guy out of the Ancients in Arizona. Stays at home in the West. They're probably going to keep both of them. They're looking like they're trying a new thing where they want to build sustainably. These past few years have been kind of rocky. Roster's been changing kind of crazy, so they're trying to get stable guys that'll buy into the system. And Randy he's right in there. He's 41 chemistry. Pierce has 35 chemistry. So, and now we go to the Southern rivals, the Diamonds. Their draft plans didn't work out as Kyle Prim was taken earlier than they thought he would be. And they choosing between Chris Mitchell and Chris Brantley. Brantley, the hometown guy from Western University, California boy. Chris Mitchell, Midwestern. Let's see who they take. They go with Brantley, which is a smarter pick because Brantley's a lot better, just a rating wise, and he's local, which means he'll appreciate it there and he'll try to stay on, even if he gets. They're hoping he gets popular and good. He'll be like, "Hey, this is where I'm from." Maybe so. That's a consideration when drafting somebody, and the Diamonds take the chance. Maybe the draft trade will work out in their favor, but it's looking like it'll work out in the Margay's favor because Raj Timer was not supposed to slip those two spots. And now the Interceptors. This team has been riding a pretty steady wave of success even before their perfect season, their first championships appearance season. They've been consistently the tops of the league. So they got Soto taken from them this offseason as a tribute to the Checkers. They're trying to replace him. They like Guerrero, speedy guy. They really need a speedster because they don't have a starter right now. But Guerrero, I mean, he's an A. He has a good career arc, but he's the worst player in the draft. Pretty much no catching, no dodging, barely any throwing. His chemistry is right there, right even, but it's or Levante Towers didn't expect to slip this far. Um, so we'll see. They do need a speedster, so that's a consideration. And they take Guerrero, the first guy out of Venezuela to enter the league. Now on to the Toros, who are really liking Clowney, but I have a feeling they like Towers, and they weren't expecting Towers to slip this far. They have one of the best teams in the league, the second best rated players. They're just missing one spot. They're very tight on money, so they're probably going to go with their draft pick. And Towers is sticking out like a sore thumb for them. It's going to be between him and Campaign out of Compass Rose. Uh, and they go with Campaign, kind of the same pizzazz as Raekwon, so maybe they can work together. Toros really, we're kind of looking for somebody to have a chemistry similar to Raekwon to kind of make him happier. I mean, he's a pretty unhappy player, getting paid a lot of money. Um, but Campaign is kind of on the other spectrum. So maybe that pick's kind of leaving people head scratched a little bit. And now we go to the Scarlet Ember. And they Towers or Twice Charlie. Charles out of the Lake School. They go with Levante Towers, Compass Rose. That's a really local school, Midwest in Chicago. It's really local for them. So they like to keep the Hardy. Maybe they're getting back to the Hardy Midwest thing after their Swede Sven spurned the crap out of them. Held out last year to get franchised. Well, held out to get 8 million. And then at his first chance, he just bolted, leaving a very talented team that was still pissed they missed the championship for 2 straight seasons. And they're kind of scrambling right now. The Midwest is looking more like a free for all. That's why the Caps are making these big moves. But now the Skylarks are on the clock, and they're kind of like the Toros. They're a very solid team, very good team, best catchers in the league, third best rated team. But they have no money. They have $1 million, so they're probably going to sign a youngin. Looking at Chris Mitchell, almost guaranteed to go over twice Charlie. They take Chris Mitchell out of Wheatfield. The Wheatfield connection is strong on this team. You got Maurice and Keith, both out of Wheatfield, so trying to get that synergy together. Looks like that's what they're trying to do, and he'll be happy. I mean, Freeman's a 51, he's a 53. So, that's how it works. Empire, what does Ramos have up his sleeve now? Didn't get into the trading business. I mean, they're kind of hamstrung a lot. They're one of the most unhappy teams in the league. Ramos somehow does it with 20 million a year, 2 million less than every team. Past two championships, they were apparent in, but these players are getting to the end of their contracts and they're unhappy. So next offseason is going to be interesting for them. This offseason, they can kind of keep, but looking like they're going to go for twice Charlie. Let's see. Twice Charlie out of the Lake School. Both Lake School guys were still left in the draft. New school that just started their program. Maybe these guys just really weren't ready. Twice Charlie goes to the end. I mean, he has the bravado of an Empire athlete. Does he have the skill? I don't think the Empire were looking to replace Alexander with somebody like this, but contracts are hard to come by and you want to make your players happy, so they might be squeezing him out. And final pick of the draft is on the Seattle Silverbacks. Wes No Show, and Paul Somerset. And it's going to be Paul Somerset to the Silverbacks. The show from France, undrafted, but he shouldn't pout because I would guess half of these players aren't going to see the field this year. It's well, no, that's not true because there's only going to be 11 players in the system not seeing the field. With the expanded teams, the demand has gone up. So you'll see more unskilled players on the field this year, but a lot of these can be. It's such a gamble with them. You never know what's going to happen. But, you know, that's why we play. That's why it's going to be exciting to see where these players land. Somerset, he has interesting chemistry. 34 chemistry for a team that's a 58, but he's helping out the overall. I mean, Arthur and Sanchito are kind of low on the chemistry, so maybe he's going to be put in as a ploy. I mean, they're probably going to sign him because they're really trying to get Salazar to sign. Reports say they're trying to pull up 11 million for Salazar, as much as possible to get anybody off of him. But we'll have to see. Thank you for watching the Season XV draft. And we hope you have a nice night. Bye bye from San Francisco.